Good evening. Senate President Escudero says the Senate is set to discuss next week the Supreme Court's ruling which declares the impeachment articles against Vice President Sara Duterte as unconstitutional. The Supreme Court earlier ruled that the impeachment complaint against Vice President Duterte is barred by the one-year rule, halting the Senate's scheduled trial. During the Senate session on Tuesday, July 29, Escudero says the chamber has agreed to schedule the discussions on August 6 to give ample and sufficient time to the members to study the decision.
For the record, it was agreed in caucus that the matter will be decided upon by the Senate on August 6, 2025, when we open session on that date, in order to afford ample and sufficient time to the members to study the 97-page Supreme Court decision, excluding the concurring and separate opinions filed by 5 or 6 additional magistrates of the Supreme Court.
An all-member caucus was held on Tuesday afternoon before they opened the second session day of the 20th Congress. In a separate interview, Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri says it was Senate Minority Leader Tito Soto III who appealed that the discussion be made on August 6. According to Zubiri, majority of the senators agreed with Soto's suggestion, but Zubiri also says some really want it to be dismissed on Tuesday's session. Meanwhile, Escudero, in a briefing on Tuesday morning, says he believes there is no longer a need for the Senate impeachment court to convene after the Supreme Court declared the impeachment case of Duterte as unconstitutional. However, he emphasizes that this is just his personal opinion, as the decision of the majority of the Senate will always prevail.
Personally, ang posisyon ko ay bilang abogado ay ito. Nagdesisyon ng Korte Suprema, sang-ayon ka man doon o hindi, dapat ito'y sundin. Kung hindi, magkakaroon tayo ng constitutional crisis at baka tingnan tayo ng mga karatig bansa natin at ibang tao na isang banana republic kung saan sinusunod lamang natin yung mga gusto natin.
Senate President Escudero is dismissing allegations that he made multi-billion peso insertions in the 2025 national budget, calling the reports a mere demolition job traced to the House of Representatives. In a press conference on Tuesday, July 29, Escudero boldly denies any such schemes.
Bibigyan ko kayo ng kabuuang sagot. Ang kabuuang panukalang amendment kaugnay sa 2025 budget ay umaabot sa humigit kumulang 600 bilyon. Ang nilipat-lipat, tinanggal, dinagdag. So kung totoo man yung sinasabi nila na 150 billion ang binago ng Senado, nasaan yung 500 billion yung pagbabagong yon? Saan ang galing? At bakit nila pinagtutuunan ng pansin yung mas maliit, hindi yung mas malaki?
Escudero denies making a 150 billion peso insertion to the 2025 General Appropriations Act. While the Senate chief confirms proposing budget changes for Sorsogon, he clarifies that these did not amount to 9 billion pesos. He then argues that the National Expenditure Program submitted by the Department of Budget and Management needed revisions, not only from the Senate but also from government agencies that identified areas needing improvement.
Grabe naman kasi yung insinuation ng mga naninira. Pag nag-amyenda ka ng budget, insert na agad, illegal na agad, bawal na agad, may kita na agad. Hindi naman siguro tama yon. Mali naman yata yon. So, anong gusto niyo sabihin sa amin? Wala kaming karapatan baguhin yung sinasubmit na panukalang budget ng DBM. Ganun ba yan? Kung ano yung sinubmite, ba't pa kami maghihiring? Ba't pa nakalagay sa saligang batas ang power of the purse ay nasa Kongreso? Yun ba yung ibig sabihin mo? Na illegal magbago ng budget?
The Senate chief emphasizes that budget changes only become illegal when done after the enactment of the law. According to Escudero, he had already been warned that this issue would be used to tarnish his name and influence the Senate leadership transition. When asked where this alleged demolition job originated, Escudero says information he received pointed to the House of Representatives. Escudero says they might name the person once they have sufficient basis. He then suggests that all budget amendments proposed by senators be made public. Justice Secretary Boying Remulla discloses that authorities are holding a new witness in the case of the missing sabungeros. In an interview on Tuesday, July 29, Remulla says the new witness could bolster the testimony of whistleblower Julie Dondon Patidongan. Remulla adds that the civilian witness not only has direct knowledge of the disappearances, but also possesses concrete evidence that corroborates existing accounts.
Hindi lang ito testimonial evidence, may real evidence na involved dito. Meron ditong totoong ebidensya na bukod sa kwento, meron itong sariling ebidensya pa na kalakip.
In the same interview, Remulla expresses his gratitude to Philippine National Police Chief General Nicolas Torre III for relieving a service commander involved in the investigation due to alleged suspicious behavior. Remulla clarifies that the service commander is not included in the 12 police officers being investigated in the case of missing sabungeros. When asked about the reason why the service commander was relieved, Remulla says,
Hindi angkop ang kanyang kilos sa magandang pag-resolve ng kaso. Hindi, parang lang, ayoko kasi nag-aalangan ako na tao. Ito kasi very important business to. Pero meron siyang kinilos na hindi gusto. Alam nyo, napakahalaga ng ganitong tiwala sa prosesong to. Tiwala ang pinakamahalagang rito, magkaroon. Kasi pag wala kang tiwala, paano magsasalita ang mga tao? Hindi buo ang tiwala.
The National Police Commission announces that 12 active police officers were charged with administrative offenses on Tuesday, July 29, in connection with the case of missing sabungeros. Napolcom Inspection, Monitoring and Investigation Service Director Edman Pares says their division found probable cause to formally charge the police officers.
Ang pinakauna ho namin na batayan, ebidensya namin, we considered in determining whether or not there is probable cause, primarily po yung affidavit na po na binigay ni alias Totoy sa atin, ni Mr. Jolie Padidongan. And mayroon din ho kaming other documents which we will be attaching in our formal complaint para masagot din nila at makonsider ng ating mga hearing officers at ng ating national Napolcom and Bank.
According to Pares, Police Colonel Jacinto Rodriguez Malinaw Jr. was formally charged with grave misconduct, grave neglect of duty, and conduct unbecoming of a police officer. Meanwhile, Pares says the other 11 police officers were charged with grave misconduct and conduct unbecoming of a police officer. Pares emphasizes that the charges only pertain to the administrative case and that the criminal case was being overseen by the Department of Justice. According to the agency's Legal Affairs Service, they will now be assigning a hearing officer to the case and send out summons to the 12 police officers before elevating the case to the Napolcom and Bank for disposition. This development comes 2 weeks after whistleblower Julie Dondon Patidongan filed a complaint with the Napolcom against the active police officers and 6 previously dismissed personnel. Napolcom Vice Chairperson and Executive Officer Rafael Calinisan says they aim to resolve the case within 60 days. Patidongan and 18 family members of the missing sabungeros are the complainants in the case. They are represented by the Napolcom Inspection, Monitoring and Investigation Service. Patidongan previously revealed in an interview with GMA News that police officers were involved in the kidnapping and killing of the missing sabungeros. The country may experience up to 16 cyclones from August to December this year, according to Pagasa. At a climate forum on Tuesday, July 29, Pagasa Climate Monitoring and Prediction Section Chief Ana Liza Solis says that 9 to 16 cyclones are expected to enter the Philippine area of responsibility before the end of 2025. Pagasa forecasts 2 to 3 cyclones in August, 2 to 4 from September to November, and 1 to 2 in December. The agency also projects 0 or 1 tropical cyclone in January next year. Citing historical records, Solis says the country experiences more typhoons during the months of July, August, and September. Pagasa also notes a higher than average likelihood of La Nina conditions developing, although the current outlook remains neutral in terms of the El Niño Southern Oscillation. The El Niño Southern Oscillation is a natural climate pattern involving periodic fluctuations in sea surface temperatures and atmospheric conditions over the Pacific Ocean, which can influence typhoon activity in the Philippines. Pagasa is urging the public and the local governments to stay alert and continue monitoring weather updates as the typhoon season intensifies. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.